Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Property Pro Tips Straight from the Pros with Trevor Henson. And today we have a very special guest, Jon Bombaci. Did I say that right, Jon Bombaci?
Yeah, Bombaci, good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Bombaci. Thanks for coming on the show, Jon. Jon is a dynamic real estate professional, entrepreneur, and visionary founder of Candor Realty. With decades of experience in real estate investment and real estate and insurance, Jon shifted from a successful career in accounting and finance at a Fortune 100 company, or at Fortune 100 companies, tell us a little about that later, Jon, to fully embrace real estate in 2019. Under Jon's leadership, Candor Realty has seen remarkable growth, expanding from 29 units in 2019 to over 550 units in 2023. Jon credits his success to treating real estate as a collaborative endeavor and building partnerships with a diverse range of individuals. Jon is deeply passionate about two things. One, his family. Two, his clients. I love that. He believes that working with Candor Realty means becoming part of his extended family, ensuring that his clients feel truly at home and supported. Join us as we discuss how Jon's personal values and professional strategies have shaped his approach to real estate and how he envisions the future of the industry. Welcome again, Jon. Glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry the bio was a little long, but appreciate it.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so what's the 15 seconds speech on Jon? Just give her just a little bit of it from you, not from me.
Yeah, so I guess I founded Candor Realty because I wanted to help investors by being an investor. So early on, I kind of realized there's this gap in the small multifamily where the residential real estate agents try to help clients, but they don't really have the skills. The commercial real estate agents don't really want to go down and do that. And so there's this big gap in like the 2 to 10 property buildings where it's kind of like no man's land. Like the clients were essentially on their own. That's where I was. I was essentially on my own trying to figure it out, where I knew more about the property than the listing agent or the buyer's agent. And it was really more like, maybe I should talk to the seller because like no one really knows what's going on. And so we kind of saw that niche and kind of focused on it. And the big catalyst is we have 50 agents on the team. Every agent on the team is an investor themselves, or they have to make an investment within 12 months of joining the team. And so we're investors helping investors because it's hard to find people that understand, especially in Massachusetts, same thing in California. Like, hey, tenant sucks on the third floor. A real estate agent will say, oh, just do an eviction. You'll get them out. No big deal. We gotta hold on. Let's talk about it. It's a little bit more than that, and like, but it only really sinks in if you've lived through it, right? If you've never done an eviction yourself, it's hard to convey what you actually have to do to a buyer. Sometimes it's not going to be a big deal. Sometimes you walk the unit and you're like, this is going to be a freaking disaster. But it's hard to teach someone that unless they've gone through it themselves.
100%. And I want to just run back one thing that you said. It was very interesting that you said that every one of your staff is also an investor. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
That is very unique and interesting. How did you set that up? And how does so everyone that works for you is also invested in the properties that you own to a degree?
No, their own, right? So every real estate agent on my team, they have investment when they join or make a commitment to buy within 12 months. One of my property managers who's been with us the longest, she house hacked a 3-family. My our accounting team house hacked a 2-family. My executive admin, Linda, house hacked a 4-family. So like everybody's kind of like joins, kind of seeing how it does, and I encourage them to do it themselves, right? Like it's important for them to own their own. It's their retirement vehicle. It's how they grow, how they, selfishly give them an asset, help them grow it. But selfishly, if they're managing their own property, it's going to make them better at managing my properties.
Right. All boats rise with the tide, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that approach. And it's a very unique and very interesting business model. I think if they have the means to do it, do you help coach them through how to do it if they haven't done it before?
Yeah, absolutely. We have team leads. All the team leads have done it themselves. They've all kind of grown up, and they kind of help. And then we incentivize it by saying, hey, you do a transaction for yourself. We take $500 commission. The rest of it goes to you. So if you want a house hack of 3-family, you're getting 3% commission. You can essentially do it with very little money out of pocket. And that's kind of made it
awesome
easier. Early on, I realized it's very hard to find agents and to train them how to be investors. it's like for some reason everyone kind of struggles with, I can't be a real estate investor. It's really hard. It's hard to be a real estate investor. Those of us that have done it is like, it's not that hard. You just have to do it and you have to learn with it. But everybody thinks they can be a real estate agent. Like you could talk to anybody, anyone, anywhere, and they think being a real estate agent is the easiest thing in the world, right? Like all I do is sell houses. It's really easy. You don't need a degree, you don't need anything. And it's like there's a reverse. It's really hard to be a real estate agent, but everyone thinks they can do it. It's really easy to be an investor, but so many people are afraid to do it. And so I'd rather find the investor and teach them the paperwork to be an agent than the other way around.
Very cool insight, man. And it is a complete, like you said, like a complete shift from the normal mentality, right? The investing itself can be easy if you're just handing over, if you're a silent investor, here's my 100,000. But when you're the managing partner or general partner, that's when it's a different story. When you're an investor and you're the one putting the deal together and investing in it, that's the nightmarishly hard part.
Oh yeah, you have to have experience to get up to that level, right? I meet a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do my first syndication." It's like, well, what do you own? It's like, okay, let's take a step back.
Yeah, like, wait a minute, do you have a house?
You have a house? Do you have credit? Like, let's start over.
Well, Debbie, right, we'll start up with our first question, John. That's funny. We're gonna be laughing here the whole time. I'm gonna be like, what's this podcast? The guys are just laughing the whole time. Hey, you know what? There needs to be more laughter in the world, people.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much anger and crying. Need more laughter and joy. All right, John. Question one: walk us through the moment you decided to leave your corporate finance role and dive full time into real estate. What was the catalyst for that decision, and more importantly, what did it feel like?
Yeah, so I left my corporate job in July of 2019, so not that long ago, about 5 years ago. Had about 29 units at the time, and I was a finance guy, corporate finance, working through that, and I engineered myself to like a lean financial independence was kind of what I was doing. So I got to the point where the income from the property supported my monthly bills, and so that was kind of my my goal, right? I'm a very risk adverse person, so I had to hit a certain number a month before I could do it.
Right.
And then when I hit that number, I just kind of pulled the ripcord and made it happen. The reason why I kind of started down that path was I lost my father a couple of years before. He was a big corporate guy, worked in for GE for decades, and then when he got sick, GE had no loyalty. And like you kind of see it and you know it and you understand it, but then you kind of experience it and it kind of changes things. And so I got to the point where it's like, well, I can't set myself in a situation that I give a company 35 years of my life and they're not going to care. So like I kind of time box myself to earn my way to that financial independence number.
Interesting. So he went for the gold watch and that's about what he got. And then in the end of it, it was like, there's no legacy. And so from there, so you had planned to leave after you got to independent freedom through gaining units on your own, it sounds like. So you had a plan to execute. The day you executed, was it hard? Like, what was that day like when you were like finally slid the resignation across your boss's desk and said, I'm out. Sorry. No, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm out for good.
It was a little, it was intimidating, right? I never quit a job before, other than like I, got recruited and left or whatever, but I never actually just quit. And when I told them what I was doing, they were kind of like, they had more questions than like I was expecting. And so we spent like a long time talking about like, no, but like where are you going? Like, what are you doing? And then they were like, we got to talk to HR. And they decided just to walk me out that day because they didn't know what to do.
Like, we don't know if you're a spy or like, are you working for some other company? You're going to start offloading archives.
So it was just like, okay, we don't get it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And resigning is mentions of resigning is very difficult. But if people who haven't actually resigned when you don't have to, there's no actual reason to resign, where it's a voluntary resignation to go do something completely different. There is some definite, must have been some definitely stress or trepidation. Am I doing this the right thing? And such. You can imagine that day, a very faithful and what I would call it. Well, it's the definition of courage and bravery, right?
Yeah, I mean,
scared as hell, but went forward anyway.
Exactly. Like you want. I mean, that's the same way every time I buy a big property. It's like you always sit there at the closing table with a pen. You're like, But you gotta trust your gut, trust the numbers, understand what you're doing. You have to have confidence in it, and then you just have to move forward. And if something's wrong, you'll figure it out. I had the confidence from 4 Hour Work Week, like Tim Ferriss's book. There's an exercise in there where it's like, all right, take you quit your job. What's the worst case scenario? And you kind of go through the whole worst case scenario. And it's like, okay, I lose everything, and I am working at Starbucks. Like that would suck. But if I fail within a short period of time, I can get another job in finance. It's not like that crazy. And if I'm somewhat successful at what I'm thinking, like it could scale exponentially. And so that exercise kind of time boxed it for me. It helped me where it's like, worst case scenario isn't that bad compared to the rest of the world. A medium case scenario, you're way farther ahead than what you would have been. And if this is somewhat successful, like you're going to look back on this day and kind of laugh that you didn't do it sooner. And that's where we are.
Congratulations on making the dive. I love Ferris. He's got some of the best. I read the 4 Hour Work Week when it first came out, and that thing, they keep revising it and refreshing it, and it's still relevant somehow.
Yeah, I listen to it every year just because it's a good exercise.
I think that was the first time I ever heard of a VA, like a virtual assistant. That was when was that book written? Like 2002 or three, something like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was the first VA, first whiff of a VA I heard of, and now we have them everywhere, right?
Yeah, I didn't read it till like 2017, so I was kind of late to it, but
wow.
it had a profound impact on what I ended up doing.
Fantastic book. Have you read Tools of the Titans?
Yeah.
That's the book he's got. That's another one to have on. That's like a Bible. I think it's a tome. So from 29 units, so you started with 29 units, and then you went to over 550 units in just a few years. I mean, that's fast, especially through COVID. I mean, you had to be closing escrow on COVID, I imagine, right? In some of the deepest of COVID, they're not that far from it. But tell us, what are some of the key strategies or decisions that fueled the expansion for you to move that quickly through that difficult time? That wasn't the best time for anyone to be. No one knew what was going on, yet you were charging ahead. What did that look like for you? How did you keep up with that?
So Massachusetts, I mean, COVID was fine in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Like, I mean, real estate market responded very well. I mean, it was like
was it Armageddon like Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, COVID was the best thing that ever happened to the state of New Hampshire. Like it
really?
Yeah, because like they didn't really believe in COVID. So everyone, and then Boston shut down, and everyone was kind of leaving Massachusetts and fleeing to New Hampshire. And then everyone, in Connecticut, everyone was leaving New York and fleeing into Connecticut and upstate. So like everyone was kind of exiting the cities. And so where we were operating about an hour outside of Boston, like saw tremendous growth throughout COVID in terms of rent prices and home prices and everything else. And so like COVID was actually probably the best thing that could have happened to the state of New Hampshire. And that's probably where more than half of our units are.
Wow.
Early on, I kind of learned how to partner with people and build teams and kind of learned how to work with others. And that's probably been the reason why we've been able to do as many units as we have is like, I don't just always partner with the same people over and over and over again. Like when we do a project, I try to figure out who on my team on the bench is the best fit to do the project. And so like a lot of times I end up partnering with different people across the board, depending on the project. If I'm doing a big fix and flip versus syndication, I have different groups of people that I work with. And so that's kind of allowed me to, reuse the same energy to build multiple bridges at the same time so that we're able to kind of grow, together as opposed to fighting each other.
Got it. And when you say different groups, you're talking about different investment groups or different like banks and such, or everything different?
Different GPs, different partners, different, like some of the times, like we'll just do like, hey, we need to raise $2 million. So we'll just do, hey, we'll do 4 guys for 500. Other times, like, hey, we need to raise $5 million. So we'll open up at $50,000 and raise it through a syndication. But like, we try to kind of mix and match in terms of what we're looking for. And so that way we're not always hitting the same pool with the same stuff every single time. We keep it a little bit different because like the guy that wants to give me $500,000 doesn't want to be in a deal with 30 other people for $50,000 each. And kind of understanding that early on and structuring them a little bit differently, we're able to kind of, move people into the slots they want to be.
Very cool. That's a very interesting take on bringing it. That way, you're not using the same investors either. People don't get investment fatigue, so they're not all with you. They can diversify their portfolios as well. Sounds like so. You have the guys who are just trying to get in, and then they got the big hitters, and you're kind of mixing them together. That's very cool strategy, John. I like that.
Thank you.
It sounds like it's been working pretty well to move that quickly.
Yeah. It's that okay?
Now, you said fix and flip. Are most of your deals fix and flips, or do you have long-term holds as well?
So most of them are long-term holds. So I mean, I can pull up the portfolio real quick. But I think we probably have about not that many fix and flips right now. So right now, out of the 550 units, we only have 62 that are kind of pegged for the fix and flip. The rest of them are either in buy and hold or some sort of syndication. And so like the buy and hold, we kind of categorize that as those more JVs. We're not really doing the SEC paperwork. We're not really doing the shares. We're keeping them small. And then the syndications are when we come with all the fun stuff. We have 209 units that are in syndication. The rest of them are kind of JVs or the fix and flips.
Like where they don't pass the 10 investor mark that you're.
Yeah, they don't. There's not enough skin on. The legal costs for doing the syndications are quite high, and so it's like we kind of save the syndications for when it's a big raise that we don't think we can do it any other way. If it's a $1.2 million raise, I don't need to syndicate it. I can do that otherwise. If it's a $4 million raise, like I know I have to syndicate it. I don't have a choice. But we try to kind of keep the buckets, segmented depending on the deal.
Right. You can move faster when you don't have to syndicate it too, I imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the risk is there because you're raising larger chunks from less people. All you need is one person to have a bad month, or they don't tell you that they're pulling it from an IRA, or they don't tell you it's coming from another property that they're selling, and now all of a sudden you have something you weren't expecting a week before closing.
Right. We're like, okay, it's time to wire the funds. Like, well, we need to talk. You're like, no, we don't.
If
sorry,
someone
wrong number.
50 grand, right? We can fix it pretty quickly.
Right.
Someone pays on $500,000, like we got a problem.
Oh man, yeah. Unfortunately, I've been there before. Yeah, I held it together, but I held the deal together, but it was like edge of a knife, and I was like, I think that's where these like my receding hairline came from during that deal. I lost another half inch on there somewhere.
A lot of
investor tried to pull out. Oh man. So tell me what criteria do you use when you get your investors together? What criteria do you use to vet your vendors and subcontractors that you use at your buildings?
So a lot of times, I'm a big component of move fast and kind of let people show you their true colors. Like, I mean, I can interview a vendor till I'm blue in the face, but I give them the first job and they either do what they say they're going to do or they won't. And so like the same thing happened this week where like a hard money lender reached out promising the world. Good recommendations, good people that I know. I understood the criteria. So I was like, fine, you get to do the next one. I'm not going to give you 5. I'm going to give you the next one. And if you do what you're saying you're going to do, then I'll give you 2 more and 3 more and 5 more. And I do the same thing with vendors where it's like, like we did a big project up in Lewiston, Maine where I knew nobody. It's 2 hours away. I knew nobody. We had to do 6 roofs. So I said, great, hire 3 roofing companies. One roofing company screwed up right away. The second roofing company screwed up on the second roof they did. And so now we know who a roofing company is because the other ones ruled themselves out. And like, that's kind of like, it's probably not the best mentality, but like I could have sat there, interviewing roofing companies so I'm blue in the face and I pick one and I'm stuck with them. But it's like, hire 3 and then we'll figure out based on their work, based on the price, based on if they do what they say they're going to do, who our roofing company is going to be up there.
I would not argue that your approach was bad. How else would you know? People can say anything in an interview. It's what the workmanship, the craftsmanship, and then the customer service afterwards when something goes wrong. That's what matters. And you can only do that by, as you say, trying somebody, especially moving into a different market you don't have any contact in. That's so did the last roofer you end up having to fix all the other guys' work?
Uh, sort of. Yeah. But I mean, the first guy, we kicked him off real quick. We lost like $1,200 in terms of our deposit. The second guy, the guys were doing essentially drugs on the job site for the second one, and we're getting complaints from our tenants. And so like they finished the job. We just didn't have any more roofs for them.
So they're up there on the roof doing drugs and not fixing the roof. Oh, well, roofers are a special case, a special class. They're in there with like, as someone who leads a team of seasoned real estate professionals and apparently investors, who do you ensure that your team aligns with, embodies your values, integrity, and client first service?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is so I guess a lot of it comes down to I really don't hire. I don't recruit, I don't hire, I don't do that. All the agents that are on the team have said they sought us out. Like they've asked to join. And the rule is like we're never hiring, but there's always room for the right people. And we've kind of backed that up. And so like I
like
do
that.
zero recruiting, I do zero marketing for agents. All the agents on the team have sought us out. And the question is, why do you want to join? And if the answer is, money or to save money on their own stuff or something that doesn't align with their interests, it's like, okay, let me refer you to another brokerage. And that's normally pretty honest because every brokerage wants people. We're very kind of selective of, I don't think we're the best fit, but let me send you to someone that is. And then the broker that I send them to is normally very, very thankful because it's an extra person for them. And it's like the people that I want are people that want to learn how to invest themselves and help other people. And so like that interview process where they seek us out, they know what our mission is. Normally them finding us is the first step. And then like a couple of quick questions, like we can figure out what they think we need to hear. And that kind of tells us everything we need to.
It sounds like one of your criteria is, are you willing to invest within the next 12 months?
Or do you own something?
Or do you own something already? Yeah.
Or, are you looking to help others? Like I always get the people that are like, oh, we're investors ourselves. I just don't want to pay commissions. And it's like, okay, well, like go to 𝒃𝒐𝒐, go to somewhere else where you have low overhead. You can just coast there. No one's going to bother you. Go do it over there. But like, I don't need that person on my team. Right. Like,
right.
So it's like, trying to understand what their motivation is. And then if I'm not the right fit, giving them the answer that other people just aren't giving them.
Such a different business model, John. I'm liking it more the more I hear about it. The more I hear it. I know tons of brokerages in there, like CBRE, Marcus & Millichap, all the big ones, and it's all pretty standard. Many people as they can get.
Oh yeah. Yes, you can work here. Yes, you can work here. Because I mean, any deal you close, I get a piece of it. Any deal, if you don't do anything, it doesn't really cost me much. But I mean, the reputation is more important, right? I don't need someone with commission breath. I don't need someone that's just looking to cut corners. Like I want people that their why makes sense to me.
I just want to repeat that because that's the first time I've heard that. The word was commission breath, right? That's amazing.
It's an accurate description.
Commission breath. Get away with me. Get away from me with your commission breath, sir. I can smell that. I'll call my number. Love it. So, given your background in finance and insurance, as we mentioned in your bio, how do these areas of expertise influence your real estate and investment strategies?
I mean, I mean, I didn't realize at the time, but I mean, insurance in real estate investing is the same, like almost the same. The way I've set up the company is very similar to the way that I've set up other insurance companies when we were purchasing them, buying them, and everything else. Like, in insurance, we're assessing risk. Those risks are related to properties. In the real estate side, we're assessing risk. Those risks are also related to the properties, but we're looking at more, the income and expense equation of it versus just, replacement costs and everything else. But I mean, I didn't realize it before, but like real estate brokerage and real estate and insurance brokerage are heavily correlated in the way that they're set up, their operating models. The book of business on the real estate insurance side is very comparable to the book of business on a property management side, where you're maintaining that book. You have your owners that are, going to go somewhere every X amount of years. But the idea is like you're always kind of moving that book forward. And that's a very comparable exercise between insurance and property management.
It's big, and in their long-term relationships as well. I throw in there, and it's a long time before you make money, but that's the long-term relationship is what you make money on. At least how we understand it. In property
Exactly.
management, it's the long game for sure.
The first year you're losing money, right? But over 5 years, you're going to do okay. And then you kind of
Hmm.
have to, figure out how you roll that forward.
Right. Awesome. And then looking forward into the future of what the we feel like real estate's on pause here, and kind of this before this election, at least in California, everything's just deadlocked mostly. Um, Looking forward, what are some trends in the real estate market that you think will impact investors and homeowners in the next few years? Or I mean, the next 6 months are going to be interesting, but moving forward to the next couple of years, what are you thinking on your side of the coast on your coast, I should say?
So I think we're very comparable, right? So I mean, we've pivoted to more fix and flips in the short term because the small distressed properties are still
Not
very
there.
available. We actually target properties that have active evictions or evictions coming up because a lot of people are afraid of them.
Hmm.
And just like you with your large portfolio, we've learned how to navigate the eviction framework. I know how much it's going to cost me, right? I know it's going to take me maximum of 12 months. I know it's going to take me maximum of 10 grand. I know that. If I can get them out in 3 months for 5 grand, like I win. But if I can price the worst case scenario into my deal, like I feel pretty good about taking on those properties. And so the big stuff is on pause, just like you said. The sellers have their number, the buyers can't meet their number. The interest rates have stalled anything over 50 units, essentially. Like they're just too big of
Oh,
a gap.
absolutely.
Same thing with us. Like I don't want to sell anything bigger than 50 units because I can't get the number I want. It's the same thing with the buy side. And so we've kind of pivoted to the smaller stuff to kind of keep the team and everyone else busy. And we're kind of just biding our time. Rates are coming down pretty good this week. We'll see how it goes. But
Yeah, we'll
but
see.
I think next
Getting
year will be,
interesting.
yeah, next year I think will be a decision maker, right? If rates come down a little bit, if sellers need to move stuff around and buyers can come up and sellers can come down, I'm hoping like the stalemate kind of, eases into the background.
Right. You say you guys are feeling the stalemate about over, like it's nationwide stalemate, depending on your eviction, where you are and your municipality and how the eviction rules are going. Like because it takes used to be 4 months, now it's like almost like 12 months to evict somebody in the city of Los Angeles because there are appeals and all these different things. It's like you said, you have to plan for evictions now and like take that into account in your business model. I'm sure there's states that like Nevada, Texas, where they get people out in like 3 weeks. That's not the case. But we also know what happens when you invest in Las Vegas. I've known lots of people who bought out there during the downturns, and then it went down when everything went up, and it went further down.
That's the thing is like,
And, yeah,
yeah, Vegas, Nevada, Florida, like these markets, like they move up quick, but they also move down
turn
quick.
around quick, right?
I like New England. We're stable. It's very expensive to build here. Like we have a very mature market. We don't have new inventory coming in that can change stuff. Like supply and demand are kind of set. And so like, I
Interesting.
understand the market. I like it well. But I've kind of hesitated to go into other markets just because I don't know them as well.
I Same on this side of the this side of the rock. It's everyone's like, oh, if you invest out of state, I'm like, if I can't go there and see it, like on a monthly basis at least, I'm not really interested. I don't want to have to get on a plane. That's just me. Real estate's real. I want to go touch it. I want to go tinker with it. I want to see it. Whatever. I want to
And,
affect it, force appreciation, whatever. Yeah. I
and
don't.
we've all
I know that's
seen.
somebody's stuff, but
Oh, I'm just saying we've all seen that deal where like it trades at a number that makes no freaking sense, and you're like everyone in the market knows that property. Everyone in the market knows it's been off market for 10 years, and like it finally trades and it's a number that makes you scratch your head, and you're like, I don't understand what happened, and then you find out it's an out of state firm. And you're like, oh, okay, that
oh
makes
yes, I see.
and so it's like there's the
A
saying
big
where it's like if
weight.
you don't know who the patsy is at the poker table, like you're the patsy. Like I don't want to be that guy going into someone else's market. Like I buy the property and then like the guy next door is like, I can't believe you bought that piece of shit. Like I don't want to be that guy. And we see it in our market all the time. And so like if you can't convince me why the guy next door didn't buy this property, like I don't want anything to do with it. because like it's not a secret. I promise you.
The patsy at the table. I love that. That's a great analogy. Like, if you're not the one, if you don't know why everyone's laughing, then you're the one being laughed at. Yeah, exactly. So, I love your humor, John. Do you think you got a classic view, classic approach to this to real estate? Some folks are so stern and serious.
Oh yeah,
Life's too short to be too serious, right? We don't get out of here alive.
you gotta laugh at yourself occasionally, otherwise you'll just cry all the time.
I'll cry all the time. And so, last question: what advice would you give someone considering a similar transition from a corporate job to real estate entrepreneurship?
So I give this advice to my agents and my team leads all the time, and the answer is like when you're ready, you'll know. No one can tell you when you're ready, right? You have to make that decision. Because if you don't, and something happens, you're gonna regret it. And then when you make that decision and you do it, you're gonna realize you could have done it 6 months before. And that's okay, right? But don't let anyone kind of tell you when you're ready. Like, you have to make that decision yourself, and you're going to wait way too long. By the time you make that decision, you're going to be beyond the point that you could have done it, but you have to make that choice. And like, I think Andrew Freed's been on your podcast before. Like, he finally left his job not that long ago, and it was the same thing. Where it's like, I should have done this before. I have another team lead that's leaving her W-2 on Friday, and again, like, she could have done it before. But it's like, when you're ready, you'll know. And everybody has known for 3 or 4 months before you've known. But don't listen to other people, because it's ultimately your decision. You have to be comfortable.
You speak the dead truth on that. You don't want to be able to blame it on anybody. Like, oh, I shouldn't have taken so and so's advice and left because this happened. Like, it has to be your fault and no one else's, right? Then you own it, and that's why you end up taking too long.
If you're going to be an entrepreneur and take ownership of your business, you have to take ownership of your life. You can't
your life.
You can't rely on someone else to make the tough decisions. You have to make that decision, and it'll help you when you're starting your business or growing your business.
Dead on, right? If we can't decide for yourself, how can you decide for others or lead others? Mm-hmm. You can't, in my opinion.
You can't, yeah.
All right, John, this is entering the last segment of our show here. This is a rapid fire round. 5 quick questions. I'm going to just ask the question and try to be quiet. I have a hard time being quiet, but I'll try and not make comments. You speak as little or as much on the topic as you like. The mic will be yours. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
All right. 1 word to describe your real estate philosophy.
I'm a big component of the stronger your team, the easier real estate gets. So if you can build a really strong team, you can solve really hard problems. If you can solve really hard problems, you can make outsized returns. But like, I spend a lot of time building a strong team so that I can do some really difficult things that scare other people. And that's how we're able to maximize our returns.
1 hobby you wish you had more time for.
Traveling. We really haven't traveled since COVID, and I got 2 young kids. So like, I don't see it changing anytime soon.
Best advice you've ever received.
Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So like, I always say that, like, it's a catchphrase. We always say it, everything else. Like, it's okay to be a pig. It's okay to make profit. It's okay to run your business for profit. That's fine. But if you get too greedy, if you overstep, that's where you get into trouble. So pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Love it. What 1 habit or stack of habits do you employ to set yourself up for success?
The biggest thing we kind of do is I try to delegate as much as I can. I try to get myself out of decision making to the best of my ability. And people kind of know that if I'm not available, they kind of know where to go within the team to get help.
Last book you read?
So I was actually looking at it. So actually, the last book I listened to was 4 Hour Workweek, probably about 2 months ago. I've kind of fallen behind this summer, but yeah, I listen to 4 Hour Workweek once a year. Every time I listen to it, I catch something that I missed the time before. Some of it's gotten a little bit outdated, but there's still some great nuggets in there when you go through it.
Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Workweek is a classic. And anything Tim Ferriss writes, I'm a big fan of, and he's always got something he's messing with. He's like a biohacker on top of work hacking. I'm totally with you with Ferriss. So, well, that really brings us to the end, John. What I wanted to do is give you a chance to, how can people get a hold of you if they want to work with you and potentially be a broker with you or invest with you? What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, so I mean, you can email me. I'm sure the email will be posted later. Also find me on Instagram. My Facebook account is full, so it's hard for you to find me there. But on Instagram, email me. Find our website, candorrealty.com, and feel free to reach out. Always happy to help. Always happy to answer questions. If I know the answer, I'll let you know. If I don't know the answer, I'll probably know someone that can help.
And are you currently hiring?
We're never hiring, but we always have room for the right people.
Love that answer. Never hiring, but if the right person walks in the door, yeah.
We'll
not for sale, then building's not for sale unless for the right price.
Yeah. Nothing's ever for sale, and everything is for sale, right? Like,
true. well, thank you so much, John. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Like I said, there's not enough laughter in the world, and I appreciate you for your laughter and the tact that you bring to the real estate world. It is fun. I think it is, and it is. There is a lot of joy and fun in it, and even in the property management world, it's more fun because it's real. It's not governed by an invisible force like the stock market.
It's tangible.
Sometimes. You can go
have control over it. Yeah.
Right. You can go there and fix it. You can't walk into Apple when they lose 20% and go in there and tell people what to do. But if your building goes down 20% in value, you can certainly go figure out what happened and do something about it or try. So I appreciate your time, and I especially appreciate your energy, my friend. If you ever find yourself in Los Angeles, let me know. We'll grab lunch, coffee, a drink, whatever your bag is. You let me know.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Or if you ever need anything like resources on this side, you find a deal over here you're looking at, let me know. I'm right here in we're corporate headquarters in Long Beach, and I live in Los Angeles, so we are right here by you. You got a friend. You got a friend in the West, my friend.
Find something good. I can make sure we're not being the patsy.
You're right, because California's got a freaking crazy book of laws. It's just dedicated to just messing with landlords. Called the 𝑣𝒃𝒐𝒖𝒕 book. All right, John. Well, thank you so much for your time, my friend. And that is a wrap.